Yes, sir.
So your key role during the COVID-19 crisis at Linde and your primary responsibilities, if you could throw some light on that.
Sure. So during crisis, I was given the responsibility to connect with all the government agencies, Government of India, central government, state government, and I was single point of contact for any such discussions related to oxygen crisis in India. uh, I was empowered to take decisions even to like, which plant to produce and where to supply tankers usage and all these things. So to avoid any confusion in the organization. So that was there, and I used to connect with DPIT for all the meetings, all the like say based on the feedback from state government, meetings toward related to oxygen supplies, oxygen allocation program. And I used to connect very closely with EGMA President Mr. Sakit Tiku, because he used to facilitate the meetings. So we used to connect almost, I will say that so many times, a number of times in a day to follow up on the meetings happen DPIT and how to execute that, how to take actions towards meeting the requirement of oxygen across India, and also used to help me basically to connect with other government agencies to take the approvals or and facilitate that. So that was my role. I think it was a great, I would say, collaboration with Government of India, DPIT, and EGMA President.
Yeah.
So I mean, as I mentioned, my role to kind of the government, and because Linde is the biggest manufacturer of oxygen in India, and having the plant across India with so many fleets, almost 400 fleets, 400 plus fleets. So my number was published basically. My name and number published by Government of India to for any crisis. RC Kaushik, connect with him and talk to him for any support. And that was, I would say that I used to feel very proud. Yeah, it is I'll say that 24 hours less basically. I used to work throughout the day and night and support from my company side. So that was a great I will say moment for me, and a very proud moment.
Yeah.
So the most challenging scenarios that you faced while supplying oxygen to the entire country, how did you tackle them? And how did your leadership style evolve to manage the crisis effectively?
So this second peak, I will say second wave, I will say second COVID wave, and when the oxygen requirement was peak, very high requirement, and we could manage the production increase. We could manage that by enhancing the production for our plant, or talking to the steel manufacturers to give more oxygen or use their stock, and so we could manage the oxygen availability. The biggest challenge was the supply chain. That was most critical thing, and we were struggling to manage that because there was I would say that oxygen surplus zone and oxygen deficit zone. That was the thing. So say oxygen surplus was there in Eastern India, and the requirement oxygen was less. Deficit is say Northern India, Delhi, Bombay, and all this, and oxygen availability was less. So the challenge of supply chain, and that's what I think I will say that. We took a lot of actions to how to address that supply chain, and one is that obviously converting all our tankers. We have tankers for supply other gases other than oxygen. So we converted all our tankers from other gases to oxygen. So we increased the fleet basically to serve oxygen across India. We also hired this. We got some arrangement of ISO containers, for across Linde, other countries, and other people, and all this, and that really supported, become a big savior for to supply oxygen, and then so other thing was that this. The railways, and the railways, the one collaborating with railways and taking our tankers, airlift. I talked about airlifting tankers and all this, and the biggest thing was this. I will say the Linde team, because we have got so many plants across India manufacturing liquids, filling cylinders, and so anything. So I used to coordinate with all the plants. So I think the way they have worked and supported, whatever the requirement was that time, increasing the production, supplying, in a very short 1 hour, and immediately they plan the supply. Tankers is going on the way and going to the crisis locations and all this. So working with the team. Linde team, I said across India, all the functional supports, what we got, and the government agency, the approvals we used to get. And here, I think I must mention that the support, the way we got support from EGMA president, because we can't. So he was involved. He was basically the association's president, right? So EGMA dealing with the gases, and I'm said the biggest manufacturer supporting this all the plants and all this. and he will arrange, facilitate, okay, this approval is required, because we can't go beyond approval, right? We have to take the approval. Only how to expedite the approval, where I used to get support from Mr. Tiku and getting the approval fast, tanker conversion or any FDA license, anything, and expedite the supply to the crisis thing. So that's a great story, I will say that, and that's how we could manage the crisis. I'm very proud that I could manage the crisis very effectively with the support of Linde team, other support functions, with support of EGMA president, support of all the government agencies who gave a lot of support and approvals. TPIT was always giving the directions to know that where the crisis and where we can plan the supplies. So, yeah.
Any significant partnership or joint initiative in particular that proved to be very critical in saving lives?
Sure. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yes, I think as you mentioned that the biggest bottleneck was supply chain, right? And I will say that Linde played a pioneering role, in suggesting government to take action towards renting ISO containers from international market, because that was the biggest challenge. How to address the challenge? So we suggest you go for renting the ISO containers from international market and debottleneck the supply chain of liquid oxygen. And in the process, we also, what we do that, we had a partnership with big corporates like Tata Steel, ITC, and they sponsored. They sponsored and gave the responsibility to basically import oxygen containers, we call it ISO containers, from Linde, other countries and wherever it's available, and help this supply chain. So that's a great partnership, I would say, the great collaboration, great support from Tata Steel and ITC, I would say they were involved with Linde. And we could export, I remember that we could arrange almost 80 ISO containers from across Asia Pacific, basically Singapore, Malaysia, China, and other places. And 80 ISO containers, that's a big savior during the crisis. I will say that was something, because we were not knowing that how to really help this. And then the story got changed, because those ISO containers, and with the support of railway, we used to call Oxygen Express. So again, railway supported that, how to really conquer, this is something, 8 ISO containers going on the railway, and say going from our east plant to Delhi, 17 hours. And that started getting replicated, and that became the big, I will say, savior during the crisis.
Any particular moment or defining moment that stands out for you during the entire COVID crisis?
Well, there are so many moments, I will say that, but I'll mention one which really very unique, I will say. So there was a crisis across India, you know that, and suddenly we got the news that Delhi is struggling to meet the demand of oxygen, and a lot of crisis happens over there, and there's no manufacturing basically units near Delhi, Delhi being the capital, and so it's very difficult. And the nearest plant, our plant was in, say, Jamshedpur, Rawalpindi, pretty far. The transit time was very high, so almost 7 days, one tanker will go and come back. So we were having a discussion, DPIT called, and sort of brainstorming how to address the situation and how to help this, Then we suggest that can we airlift our tanker? I mean, can government facilitate airlifting our tanker? They said, yes, we can. We can airlift a full tanker. So we can't airlift full tankers. So the decision was taken, and immediately, I think within 24 hours, arrangement was made that, like I should connect to whom? To the Air Force, I think some Chief Marshal, somebody, very senior guy of Air Force from the Hindon Air Base, Hindon Air Base near Ghaziabad. And so we had to connect with him. He said, fine, what is the detail of tankers and all this? And within 2 days, my tanker, and my nearest location is Faridabad. My tanker is going from Faridabad to the Hindon Air Base, and the 2 tankers going, and big capacity tankers, and getting into aircraft, like say getting inside the aircraft, and getting airlifted. It was amazing. You must have seen the videos and all. The first tanker of Linde, the first tanker in India got airlifted. That was a Linde tanker from Hindon Air Base, and then they took that tanker to Durgapur Air Base, because they can get it to Air Base only. And fortunately, the Air Base, from the Air Base, our plant was only 40 kilometers. So within few hours, 2 hours, the tanker reached to our plant, and we filled it and sent by by road. So we saved 50% of transit time. The 7 days become 3 days. You can think that how many tankers, and we used to lift, I think, 3 to 4 tankers every day. So that's the effect. I think I'll say that that's a great thing what has happened. I think very, very proud, and the way government supported. the Air Force team and everybody supported in this crisis and helped us. And after that, across India, I think all the airbase started working on that and following that and how to do that. And so many tankers started getting airlifted and supporting the oxygen supply system. Yeah.
So, in the end, if there is a message that you would like to share with your colleagues that you work with, or people you coordinated with, or people in general, kind of learning from the entire crisis, what would it be?
Sure. I think I would say that no institute can teach you the crisis management what we all have learned from this COVID. This is the biggest learning for all of us. And I would say that I think being positive and keep exploring the best solutions. I think we can meet the expectations. I would say that don't limit yourself. That's what I think the most important part. That's what we did. Everybody during crisis, don't limit yourself. And at Linde, this is I say that we say that be Linde and be limitless. That's what we say. Be Linde, be limitless. And our people in Linde, there's a mantra for our Linde employees. Don't limit yourself. Keep going and keep exploring the best. And I think that's with that we can achieve anything, and that's what we did during COVID crisis also. That's what I suggestion to all the people who are watching this video. Don't limit yourself and keep exploring and putting effort for the best. You can do that. Thank you. Was it okay? I mean, I just added.
और टैंकर भी वहीं रुक जाइए, आप भी वहीं रुक जाइए.
चलो कोई नहीं.
रेडी?
बैकग्राउंड वरा देंगे. ओके साइलेंस. नहीं आ रहा है.
ये वो कोई क्रॉस ना हो.
चलो.
ठीक है, रेडी? रेडी सर? ओके.
साइलेंस प्लीज.
साइलेंस. ठीक है.
या
फोन साइलेंट है ना सबका. ठीक. हाँ. Sir, how much medical oxygen was Linde Group producing at the peak of the crisis compared to pre-pandemic levels?
Well, I mean, this was another great story at Linde, I will say, during pandemic. So, we used to produce around 2,000 tons, 2,000 tons per day oxygen, which we used to supply to industrial and medical customers during pre-COVID, basically. And when the demand of oxygen reached to the peak level during the second wave, I say, and there was a need to increase the production. A lot of discussion was happening with the government level and to increase the production. So Linde, using its technology, local technology and Linde global technology expertise, we could increase the production to 3,000 tons per day. Almost 1,000 tons we could increase the production across India, which was a great help to, in the pandemic to meet the demand of oxygen. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, the supply of medical oxygen went from 850 to 9,000 metric tons per day. Were there any innovative solutions or technological interventions used to optimize oxygen production?
You hold on. Sorry.
Cut.
Yeah.
Okay. So the supply of the medical oxygen went from 850 metric tons to 9,000 metric tons per day. Were there any innovative solutions or technological interventions that were used to optimize oxygen? Silence.
Oh, roll, sir.
Okay. Sir, the supply of medical oxygen went from 850 metric tons to 9,000 metric tons per day. Were there any innovative solutions or technological interventions used to optimize oxygen production, or did you guys manage? How did you guys manage to do an upscaling, like in that peak crisis situation?
Yes, I remember. This there was a sort of direction from DPIT to PESO to conduct one workshop, and explore how to increase the production of oxygen from existing plant in India. And at Linde, I think we took a lot of steps to increase the production. We basically modulated our production to increase the oxygen and all. And we increased the air intake. We increased the air intake to maximize the liquid production and take out more oxygen. We also, this oxygen recovery. We optimize oxygen recovery so that we can have maximum oxygen production. We discussed with the steel plants, where we have got a plant, to reduce the contractual stocks, because there is a contractual stock level, we have to maintain that. So reduce that so that we can take out that oxygen and supply the medical oxygen. We have also used other method, which is very critical, and that is called altering Linde to LOX ratio, liquid nitrogen to liquid oxygen ratio. What we did is that we used liquid nitrogen refrigeration to produce oxygen. So that's what we use it, and we use this model. This basically this action we have taken at across India, almost all the plants, where we use our liquid nitrogen refrigeration and to produce more oxygen, and by changing some process, and that was a great support, and that became the success story at Linde, and we have been asked to share with all other manufacturers how Linde could increase the production by almost 1,000 tons I talked about, and help India that time nation to meet the the demand of oxygen during pandemic. Yeah.
Correct. Very good. Yeah. Ready?
Yeah.
Sir, finally, any message you would like to share with your colleagues, industry partners, public about the times that you guys have faced or the work that you guys have done during the pandemic?
Sure. I think the important point I would say that be positive. That's very important, and keep exploring the best solution. So, and you can meet the expectations. What has happened, or what Linde has done, when there was a need to increase the production, we have never thought actually we can increase the production. So there was a demand, there was a push that we need to produce more, and our team has started exploring that. We added the 1,000 tons extra production, right? That's what we've done. So that's, I think we should keep doing that, keep exploring for the best solution, I will say. And I would say that, don't limit yourself. That's very important. We have seen in pandemic that the people are going out of the boundaries. So don't limit yourself. I'll share at Linde what we say. We say be Linde and be limitless. So I can't say others to be Linde, but I can say that be limitless. Like, don't limit yourself. And other message I would say that, we keep talking about teamwork, right? So teamwork, and it's very important. We have seen that. We have seen the teamwork. And again, I will give example of Linde. So Linde has got a big company and so many locations, so many sites, huge, operating facilities and all, and different functions, right? Different function, different KPI. What you say at Linde is that it's one Linde and one team. So what we have seen exactly same in during pandemic. One nation, one team. Across nation is the one team working towards fighting with this, the COVID, and supporting, a nation by supplying oxygen, supplying other things and all, supporting people, saving lives. I would say that don't limit yourself, and work as a team and be positive. Thank you.
Perfect. Cool. So, were any new facilities or expansions initiated?
Yes, I think, there's again, great, I will say, action taken by Linde that time. So we realized, we need to add some more capacity in certain pockets where Linde was not there, because we have plants in Eastern India, mostly plants are there. So one is that we expanded the capacity at the existing location that we did across India, various locations. But we decided to add merchant plants, liquid plant, and almost 250 tons capacity each plant. So this is the first plant where I'm standing here. This is called CCT, and this is the first plant we added, during pandemic, producing oxygen nitrogen put together 250 tons capacity. And similar, we added 4 plants in India. So adding 1,000 tons per day additional capacity of oxygen nitrogen put together, which we can obviously increase the oxygen depending on requirement. So that's a great thing what we did, and we are in the process of adding more plants. I'm sure I don't wish that any such crisis comes in India, but anything happens, we are there to meet the demand. So we are adding more plants in India after these 4 new plants what we added. So I'm very happy. Today I'm talking about, and this is the first plant of Linde added during our pandemic out of the 4 plants what we added. Yeah.